Hello friends, thank you for joining me today for episode 148. I'm Kathy Rhodes, and today we're going to think differently about who we are. But before we get into today's topic, I have a few public service announcements for you. The first one, if you are listening to my podcast through the Stitcher app, Stitcher is going away at the end of August. I just found this out this week. I personally use Stitcher for every podcast I listen to because it just works perfectly on my Pixel phone. Yeah, they're going away. They might be merging with Pandora, or they were purchased with Pandora. That's just what I heard, at least, as what we can have as another option. But just kind of preparing you a little bit, you might want to start migrating over to a new app. The second announcement that I have for you is, however you choose to listen or watch my weekly podcast episodes, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channels. Thank you for being a loyal listener. Thank you for sharing with your friends as well the amazing, awesome content that you learn, right? And the third announcement that I have for you is just a reminder that I have an online program out there called You Have Superpowers. You do. You have 5 superpowers. Well, the problem is most of us don't know what our superpowers are. And if you don't know what they are, we're not using them. So today I'm going to share one of those superpowers with you. We're going to think differently about who we are. And that leads right into superpower number 1, thoughts. Our thoughts are superpower number 1. I like to call this thought intelligence. TQ for short. Thought intelligence. When we understand the power of our thoughts and how to think, that superpower just opens up for us. So if you've watched any of my previous podcast episodes or videos, you may have already heard me talk about thought intelligence and the thought cycle. But if not, let me tune you in. Let me update you a little bit, okay? The thought cycle is a biological process that scientists and medical professionals are proving this is what happens when we think. So if you're watching me on video, you'll see the thought cycle on your screen. If you ever watch me in video, the thought cycle is always behind my left shoulder, hanging on the wall. I have a giant canvas picture of it. I need to keep it in front of me every single day. For those of you just listening though, I'll explain. The thought cycle is a 4-quadrant cycle. When we think, that triggers emotion. And then our emotion creates action within us. Actions create our result. And the result recreates new thoughts. This cycle always goes clockwise. You can't go backwards. You can't go from a thought to a result. Your thoughts will always go to an emotion, and then to an action, and then to a result, and then the cycle continues that way. So really, if you look at this, you can kind of go backwards and bring clarity to maybe some struggles you've had. If you don't get a result that you want in life, we could trace it all the way back to your thoughts. We could blame it on your thoughts. That's tough to hear sometimes. That's really tough to hear because sometimes some ugly things happen to us and we think, really? I had control over this with my thoughts? I'll give you an example. Okay, I graduated college with an accounting degree. And right after college, I went and sat for the CPA exam, Certified Public Accountant exam. Back then, 20-some years ago, it was broken into 4 sections, and you had to take all 4 sections within 2 days. It was brutal. It was grueling. I spent a whole summer and fall studying for these different tests. And then I traveled for 2 days. I mean, from 8 to 5, I was taking accounting tests. By the way, that is not how your brain works the best. Thankfully, they've changed that in the recent future. But anyway, that's what I had to do. Spoiler alert, I failed miserably. Miserably failed. It was awful. I mean, what a waste of time and money. So that summer that I was studying, I just graduated from college and went right into studying, continued studying, right? I had a 6-month-old, I had a husband. I missed that summer because I was in the library studying all the time. Or I was sitting at my kitchen table watching my husband and my son play outside while I was studying. Well, if you haven't already heard it in my voice, it was not fun, and I was kind of annoyed that I had to spend so much time studying. I was really annoyed when I failed. Really annoyed when I failed. I wasted money, I wasted time. Well, let's trace backwards to my thoughts. I was annoyed. Well, that might be more of an emotion. That might be more of a feeling. What were my thoughts? I don't want to study right now. I'd rather be playing with my baby. I don't want to be inside. It's nice outside. I want to enjoy this weather. Those were my thoughts. That created the annoyance. There's the feeling or the emotion, okay? The actions, well, I probably didn't study enough, and I didn't study the right way. Obviously, I failed. I mean, the last exam, I was drawing pictures with the bubbles that I had to fill in. That's an action that didn't get me good results too. So do you see where my thought cycle, can you see the different quadrants of this scenario and how it was happening? Yeah, I was annoyed, okay? I was frustrated. I was angry a little bit. Well, let's dig into that a little bit. When you're angry, what are some things that you say? Do you say things like, I'm angry? I'm angry that I spent so much time and energy and failed the test. I'm angry that my bike was stolen. What you really just said there was, I am angry. Really? Really? I am angry that my bike was stolen. What is your thought when you say this? If we're following the thought cycle, the thought is at the top of the cycle. What is your thought? Well, I'm angry. That's my thought. But anger's an emotion. However, the words that you're saying to yourself are confusing your brain. What you said is, I am angry. Your brain is really smart, but it's also really dumb. It does exactly what you tell it to do. Exactly what you tell it to do. So when you say, I am angry, it's taking ownership of that anger. And if that's where your thought is going to be, well, then what's the emotion that comes out of that? I mean, there's nothing but more heated type of emotions. In all reality, though, friends, you're not anger. You're not angry. You're not the little red character on the movie Inside Out whose top blows off when he gets so frustrated and angry. That's not who we are. We are not anger. We might feel angry. I feel angry that my bike was stolen. Okay, well, if I'm going to say that, the emotion is anger. What's my thought? What's my thought? If the emotion is anger, I feel angry. Well, I know when I say that, I feel angry, I almost take a deep breath and have a little more ownership in that emotion. My thought can navigate the emotion a little bit. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry, and we do. We can't help that. We do get angry. But what's the thought? Well, the thought is, my bike is gone. Somebody took it. It wasn't theirs. It's mine. That is creating the feeling of anger. What are you going to do with that? Well, this is where the ownership really comes in, right? Let's go back. Let's go back in this thought cycle. My thought is someone took what was mine without permission. It's creating this emotion of anger in me, and that's why I feel angry. What am I going to do about it? Well, hopefully not punch a wall or anything drastic. Hopefully I can take that deep breath and call the police, call the insurance, have some productivity going forward with it, right? By the way, this episode isn't about switching your thoughts to maybe something more positive or more, I like to call it green light. You know, when we're angry, we're probably in more of a negative red light type of cycle. You can't avoid that. Okay, we can't always be in the green light. We can't always be in the positive side of things. Things are going to happen that are going to get us frustrated. They're going to make us angry. They're going to make us sad. They're going to make us depressed. You know, all of those emotions, they're not positive and green light. They're more of the red light type of category. This episode isn't about switching everything to a green thought cycle. It's about choosing our words and our thoughts wisely so that we can handle the red cycle. Okay? So that we can handle when the negative emotions come into us. The anger, the depression, the sadness, what we do with that is so important. When I say things like, I feel angry, well, I'm not an emotion. I feel emotions, and emotions are temporary. You may have been angry at some point this week, at some point this day. But chances are, and hopefully when you listen to my podcast, you're not angry right now, right? Temporarily, our emotions come and go. I am not an emotion. I am Kathy. I am a speaker and a trainer and a coach. I am female. I am married. I am a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. This is who I am. I am a person who has values. My values are to be challenged and to challenge others. Health is a value. Efficiencies, empowerment. These are my values. This is who I am. This is my being. My thoughts are my being. My emotions are my feelings. My actions are what I do, and my results is what I get. So if we put a verb next to each quadrant of the thought cycle, the verb with thoughts is be. The verb with emotions is feel. The verb with actions is do. The verb with results is get. Remember, I am not anger, and neither are you. You are not depression. We're not joy either. We're not happiness either. We feel that. My friends, please own who you really are. Own who you are. Let your emotions be there, but let them come and go. Don't let them define you. Okay. Is this topic today, is it challenging your thoughts? I hope so. I hope so. I hope that you're feeling more efficient in your thought cycle, and I hope that you're feeling more empowered. I hope that you're starting to feel this superpower that you have within you. It is your most important superpower, my friends. And if you've never thought about how to think, if you've never owned that ability, well, welcome aboard. We're just opening the floodgates of opportunity for you. You know, back in school, they taught us what to think. But how often has anyone ever taught you how to think? Go ahead and re-listen or re-watch this episode. Memorize and understand this thought cycle that's in our brain. Biologically, this is how it's working. And at the end of the day or the beginning of a day, when you're trying to figure out what you need to do for the day, remember that do is an action word. Do is an action verb. Do and action are the third quadrant of our thought cycle. We got to start at the beginning. A better question to ask yourself is, who do I need to be today? Because be is linked to my thoughts. My being is linked to how I think. So if I want to get some stuff done, if I want to pass a test, who do I need to be? I need to be a studier. I need to be a problem solver. I might need to be a supporter or an encourager, depending on what I really need or want my goal to be. So my friends, think differently. Think differently in every thought that you have. Own the power of your thoughts. You are not a feeling. You are a being. You're going to feel some ugly things sometimes, but you have the power in your thought cycle to move it where you want. Like I said, I hope this has empowered you today. I hope you feel your superpower and you're excited to use it. So go reteach this to somebody else and be great today, my friends. I'll see you next week.